Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So if you've been following the show for a while, you know that I've been following and reporting on these fake candidates down in Florida for several months now. And just more recently, now we're finding out that they are tied to, in some way or the other, to Matt Gaetz and to Joel Greenberg, his buddy, who's been indicted on 33 different counts. So new details came out yesterday in regard to these fake candidates who ran in these 3 different Florida races last year. And in particular, new information has surfaced about the dark money group who funded their advertisements. So as you may recall, Alex Rodriguez, Celso Alfonso, and Justine Iannotti are 3 people who appear to have run in-state races in Florida with the intention of siphoning votes away from the Democratic candidates. And this was in an effort, it appears, to help the Republican candidate win. Actually, in the case of Alex Rodriguez, we know that that's what they were trying to do, what their intention was, because he admitted it. He's actually given up all of the information, and he's now been arrested and charged. The others, though, have not. And the DA refuses to comment because it's still an ongoing investigation. But as I mentioned to you guys, the man who paid Rodriguez is connected to Celso Alfonso, one of the other 3, because they found a file in his house containing information about his candidacy. And there's all this overlap of how their campaigns were started, their email addresses, when the paperwork was submitted, and all that good stuff. But one of the many things that ties all 3 of these candidates together is the mailers that went out in each of their districts. So they were nearly identical. I mean, the wording, the pictures, they all featured a stock photo of a Black woman, and they all contained the same progressive messages, and they were all funded by the same group. But it's been really hard to track down who's behind this group. What's coming out now is that the entity that paid for all of these mailers is run by a Republican strategist named Alex Alvarado. He claims that no one hired him, no one paid him to do this, and this was just his idea. Frank Artiles, who paid Rodriguez to run, got his money somewhere. He paid Alex Rodriguez almost $50,000 to run in this race, and he hasn't accounted for all of it. So there's somebody else behind all of this. So via text message, this Alex Alvarado guy, the Republican strategist, he sent a text to the Miami Herald, and he said, quote, "This is an independent expenditure effort. Per law, there was no coordination with these candidates, and especially not with anyone who may or may not have recruited them." Yeah, sounds an awful lot like an attorney may have written that for him. Who sends a text message like that? "This is an independent expenditure effort." Really? Okay, so here's the deal with this guy and where the money came from, or what they know so far. Alvarado runs 2 political committees. One is called The Truth. Yes, I know, very ironic considering he's a Republican strategist lying to people about 3 fake candidates and falsely promoting them as progressive candidates. I get it. And he's trying to trick Democrats. So yeah, the fact that he calls it The Truth is laughable. His other entity is called Our Florida. Now, his stepfather, his name is Luis Rodriguez. He operates Advance Impressions LLC. That's the company that printed these bullshit mailers that went out in each of these 3 districts, and they cost $550,000. So the Miami Herald now says they've reviewed documents showing that Alvarado's committees received 2 large checks from a company called Grow United Incorporated. One check was for $220,000 and the other was for $80,000. So this only accounts for about half of what was spent on the mailers. The other source of the funds has yet to be determined. That's what everybody's trying to figure out. Who's actually behind this? And Alvarado changed the name of this donor in their official filings, which seemed suspicious at the time, but now it seems like it may have just been a simple explanation. Initially, Alvarado's committee stated that the donor name was Proclivity. Then they changed the name to Grow United after the November election. However, Proclivity and Grow United are both run by the same person. They're both tax-exempt corporations. They're both registered in Delaware, which is a state that's known for its high number of suspicious corporations because of the laws there. Now, records on both of these companies, Proclivity and Grow United, show that they're both chaired by the same man. His name is Richard Alexander. So according to the Miami Herald, Alexander emailed Alvarado on December 7th of last year, so after the election, and he requested that they update his donation to reflect that it came from Grow United and not Proclivity. So simple explanation, that doesn't seem to be dodgy or suspicious at all. Alexander refused to comment on this story, and he seems to be kind of a political enigma because he has donated large sums of money to both parties. For example, his company, Grow United, donated $765,000 to the Florida Democratic Party in 2020. But then Grow United also donated almost $698,000 to Republicans. So it's very strange why he would be sending almost $800,000 to Florida Democrats, but then trying to undermine them by funding this initiative against Democrats. So it's very strange. But unfortunately, because of the way in which Grow United is registered, they're not required to provide a list of their donors. So we don't know if this is his money or if he raised this money and it's coming from other people. We have no idea. This is the problem with money in politics. And this is the problem with groups that somehow are exempt from paying taxes, and they're able to hoard money and then sway elections with these games and lies. If those mailers were required to include information about Alex Alvarado, who claims that this was all him, and if it said that he was a Republican political strategist, those candidates wouldn't have received a single Democrat's vote. And as I've said so many times, if Republicans actually had a winning popular message, if they worked for their average voter rather than on behalf of corporations, they wouldn't have to use these devious methods in order to win elections. But now, Democrats and Republicans in the state are taking action to stop this, but it's ridiculous. They have now, both Democrats and Republicans, come together and they're putting through legislation to make it a requirement that any third-party candidate must submit their paperwork and file to run in the election up to a year in advance. Because in their mind, they think that that's the problem. That these people were able to slide in under everyone's radar. They were able to come in at the last minute and sign up as a no party preference candidate. That's how they got away with all of this. What? So rather than prohibiting people from running as a fake candidate, no, let's just make the period in which they need to run their fake candidacy longer. When I hear more, I will let you guys know. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.